Russia thought it could get away with the hit when it attacked a secret U.S. military platform off the coast of Yemen, killing 6 Americans and destroying over $134 million in critical combat systems. Moscow thought they hit an oil rig. But they were dead wrong. And one thing they got right was triggering the fastest military response in modern history. Has Russia taken control of global powers? And what about America's counterattack made Russia stay silent for 6 hours? Join us as we find out who comes out on top when the United States and Russia go at it in the deep sea. A little after 3 in the morning on August 5, 2025, 14 suicide drones skimmed barely 6 feet above the Gulf of Aden. They moved in tight formation toward a single target. Out there, about 119 nautical miles south of Yemen, a platform named Poseidon 6 sat quietly over the water. On paper, it was a civilian power station. In truth, it wasn't. Inside military files, it was known by another name, Switchpoint Prime. That platform was the Pentagon's hidden artery in the region. Every month, it pushed more than 1 million gallons of jet fuel through a supply web stretching from the Horn of Africa all the way to the Strait of Hormuz. It handled thousands of encrypted drone targeting commands daily, coordinated bomber routes across the Indian Ocean, and maintained 3 carrier groups and a dozen unmanned corridors through its uplink systems. At 3:43, 3 of the drones hit the main fuel tanks. Nearly 1 million gallons of JP-8 went up in an instant. Flames shot 100 feet high. People on Socotra Island, 180 miles away, saw the sky glow red. The shockwave registered like a small earthquake, tearing steel supports that were built to survive missile strikes. 6 engineers were killed where they stood. 11 more were burned badly. Another drone slammed into the satellite tower, cutting off every live drone feed over Yemen, Syria, and the Red Sea. A 5th one hit the refueling hub that serviced stealth bombers. The 6th tore open Vault 3C, which held 9 experimental neural cores worth tens of millions. Within minutes, Cyber Command traced the digital fingerprints straight back to Russia. It was a direct hit that lasted under 6 minutes. The first strike of its kind since Pearl Harbor, carried out perfectly. Every mission the military runs relies on what most people never see. What happened after Russia cut through all of that in less than 6 minutes? By a few minutes before 4 in the morning, about 14 minutes after the first explosions, Central Command was already watching its systems fail across the Middle East. Poseidon 6 had never been about oil. It was the lifeline that kept American air power moving between Africa and the Persian Gulf. Once the cold start chamber went down, long-range missions stopped cold. Within an hour, 43 flights were called off. 4 planned strikes in Syria went silent. 2 surveillance runs over the Bab el-Mandeb Strait were lost. Every B-21 bomber now had to rely on full carrier support, which meant hours added to each operation and less flexibility when the window for a response was narrow. When the satellite tower collapsed, all live data links between carriers and unmanned aircraft disappeared. 12 drone corridors instantly lost targeting feeds. Operators sitting aboard 3 carrier groups watched their displays go dark. 2 years of steady, uninterrupted combat data vanished in seconds. Plans for the next 3 days had to be rewritten from scratch. The hit on Vault 3C was worse. Inside were 9 advanced neural cores, each worth millions and built from 5 years of testing. They carried algorithms that could guide weapons without human help or satellite support. If even one of those chips ended up in Russian hands, their engineers could rebuild the system within months. China would have it within a year through shared intelligence. That kind of leak would crush the air dominance the United States had built. The hardest blow wasn't just the damage, it was the realization that the enemy had reached deep inside. For 2 decades, America's networks had been untouchable. Then, Russia proved that belief wrong. At 4:01, the words came over command channels. America's eyes just went dark. Russia's hit was a deliberate move against America's military backbone. What kind of answer would the Pentagon deliver? One that left no doubt about the price of touching United States assets? By early morning, shock gave way to a plan. The Pentagon approved a top-tier response under Directive 139B, a protocol rarely used outside nuclear crises. They called it Operation Sea Reprisal. Three goals set the mission. First, take out the launch site. Second, wreck the Russian unmanned aircraft network. Third, recover or destroy any tech that was seized or damaged. Rear Admiral Rachel Keane, in charge of Carrier Strike Group 9, got the authority to act. Within minutes, forces across time zones went to work. From the carrier Ronald Reagan, 4 stealth fighters climbed into the dawn. They carried long-range missiles and moved toward radar nodes, fuel stores, and command links around the Borisov facility. The jets would use stealth and electronic attack to blind Russian targeting while hitting exposed points. At Diego Garcia, 2 stealth bombers moved in without radio chatter. Each held 2 massive bunker-busting bombs built for hardened underground sites. Those weapons could punch through many feet of reinforced rock and concrete. The Borisov site sat under deep granite and layered steel. The bombs fit that need. 18 refueling and electronic attack drones launched first to form a digital shield. They jammed links, sent false radar, and forced air defenses to reveal themselves. Each drone carried pods to confuse surface-to-air systems. From 2 destroyers, 32 cruise missiles were fired from vertical cells. Skimming low at high speed, each warhead was guided to precise coordinates. Targets were radar clusters, drone hangars, and a hardened command vault under the complex. Missiles came in timed waves to overwhelm the defense. The whole package was formed in under 40 minutes without public notice or diplomatic preface. Every asset had one role, and every timeline matched to the second. Suppress, blind, strike, and destroy. That was it. The strike team was ready with targets set and a timetable fixed. Sending stealth bombers deep into Russian airspace took more than smart machines. It needed absolute precision against defenses Moscow believed could never be breached. So what happened when those raiders reached Astrakhan that the earth shook and seismographs caught it across the river basin? At 6:12 in the morning, radar operators over Astrakhan noticed nothing out of the ordinary. The sky looked normal. Routine flights moved across their screens. Then, high above at 60,000 feet, 2 shapes appeared suddenly, already deep inside Russian territory. The B-21 raiders had taken off from Diego Garcia hours earlier, following a carefully plotted route that slipped through gaps in Russian defenses. Stealth design kept them hidden from radar, and their height kept them out of sight from observers on the ground. They approached Borisov 9 from the northwest, using hills, terrain features, and electronic tricks to stay unseen until the moment they released their payloads. Borisov 9 was Russia's most secret drone development site. On the surface, it looked like a simple logistics depot. Underneath, engineers worked on autonomous guidance systems, AI neural cores, and long-range drones meant for operations across Europe and the Middle East. The facility sat beneath 3 layers of reinforced concrete and nearly 200 feet of solid granite. At 6:17, the raiders dropped their massive GBU-57C bunker busters. They fell at more than 750 miles per hour, guided by GPS and onboard targeting AI. 7 seconds later, the earth shook. The bombs pierced rock and concrete, detonating deep inside the main research vault. A tremor of 3.6 magnitude rattled the Volga River basin. Flames shot 200 feet high, and a black plume climbed 1,200 feet, visible from villages 15 miles away. Inside, 5 years of drone research vanished. 9 autonomous AI cores, each worth over $120 million, melted in heat exceeding 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. 47 drones under construction were crushed instantly. As the B-21s pulled away, F-35 fighters attacked low, jamming radar with ASQ-239 systems while firing missiles at exposed fuel tanks and launch rails. 18 MQ-25 drones flooded the area with false signals, drawing missiles away from the real strike. 32 Tomahawks followed in waves, taking out the satellite uplink, cooling systems, and the underground vault. By 6:33, Marines in CH-53 helicopters arrived to recover anything usable. All they found were smoldering ruins. $1.1 billion of research had been destroyed in 12 minutes. Borisov 9 no longer existed. In little more than 3 hours, United States forces carried out a worldwide strike using stealth bombers, advanced fighters, cruise missiles, and drone swarms, and not one American was lost. But the success of a mission isn't just in what it blows up, it's in what it tells everyone watching. What message did the world receive when Russian state media didn't report a word for 6 hours after the attack? At 6:54 in the morning, the final CH-53E helicopters rose from Borisov's 9 smoking ruins. The mission was complete. No more strikes, none were required. In 180 minutes, the United States ran a joint operation across 3,500 miles using 2 stealth bombers, 4 fifth-generation fighters, 18 unmanned aerial vehicles, 32 cruise missiles, and marine assault teams. Silent until impact. Near zero detection. The outcome was stark. $1.1 billion in Russian research and infrastructure gone. 47 long-range UAVs destroyed. 9 encrypted AI cores vaporized. The drone control layer for Russia's Southern Command was erased. No U.S. casualties. No survivors at the site. For 6 hours, Russian state media said nothing. When Moscow spoke, it called the event an unidentified explosion near a logistics depot. There were no pointing fingers or threats. That quiet told governments more than words could. A direct challenge got an answer that left no doubt. At 7:06, Rear Admiral Keane faced her digital map and simply said, "Strategic vacuum restored, logistic supremacy reaffirmed." Allies reacted in measured tones. NATO called the move precise and within doctrine. Gulf partners voiced support. China and Iran stayed silent. The UN met and then closed without action. The fact was plain. The United States had not hit an oil rig. It had struck the architecture of modern war. Poseidon 6 was not about fuel. It was about invisible infrastructure and digital reach. Those systems are sovereign and part of the American force. This operation rewrote deterrence for the digital age. It was not revenge. It proved that logistics are weapons when defended and will meet an overwhelming response. What do you think? Did this restore the balance of power or start a new kind of arms race? Let's know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on global military events.